On the morning their marriage ended, Emily Parker held her husband's hand. Not because she wanted to stay. Not because she hoped he would beg her to change her mind. But because after 14 years of love, pain, laughter, and loss, she couldn't imagine ending it any other way. The courthouse in Des Moines, Iowa, smelled like old paper and weak coffee. Couples sat on opposite ends of wooden benches, some whispering angrily, others staring at their phones like strangers waiting for a bus. Emily and Daniel Parker sat side by side, close enough that their knees touched. That small contact felt heavier than any argument they'd ever had. Daniel's hand was cold. Emily noticed that first. She laced her fingers through his, the same way she used to when they were younger, when they were just Emily and Dan, before bills, miscarriages, long work hours, and unspoken resentments piled up between them. Daniel looked at her, surprised. His eyes were red, not from crying now, but from the kind of exhaustion that comes after months of holding it in. "You don't have to do that," he whispered. "I know," Emily said softly. "But I want to." They hadn't always been like this. 14 years earlier, they met at a 4th of July barbecue in Chicago. Emily was a graduate student studying social work. Daniel was an electrician who told bad jokes and laughed at his own punchlines. He spilled soda on her shoes within 5 minutes of meeting her, apologized 10 times, and somehow still made her laugh. They fell in love fast, but not recklessly. It was the kind of love that felt safe. Predictable in the best way. They married in a small church in Indiana. Emily's father cried openly. Daniel promised, with a shaking voice, that he would always protect her heart. For a long time, he did. The cracks didn't come from one big betrayal. They came quietly. Emily wanted children. Daniel did too, at least, he thought he did. The first miscarriage shattered them both, but Emily grieved out loud while Daniel went silent. The second miscarriage built a wall neither of them knew how to climb. Daniel worked longer hours, telling himself he was providing, that staying busy was helping. Emily started feeling lonely even when he was sitting right next to her. They stopped fighting, not because things were good, but because neither of them had the energy anymore. Silence replaced shouting. Distance replaced affection. And that scared Emily more than any argument ever had. The night she knew it was over wasn't dramatic. It was a Tuesday. Daniel came home late, dropped his keys on the counter, and sat down without saying a word. Emily had spent the evening alone, eating reheated pasta, scrolling through photos of friends with kids. She looked at him and realized something terrifying. She still loved him. But she wasn't with him anymore. "Dan," she said quietly. "When was the last time you felt happy with me?" He opened his mouth to answer, and couldn't. That silence was louder than any confession. Therapy came next. Months of trying. Of reopening wounds. Of admitting things they'd both been afraid to say. Daniel admitted he felt like a failure. That every time he looked at Emily, he saw someone he couldn't fix, couldn't make whole again. Emily admitted she felt invisible. That she needed a partner who could sit in the pain with her instead of running from it. They cried together in that therapist's office. They held hands there too. And slowly, painfully, they realized something true and heartbreaking. Love wasn't enough anymore. So here they were. The final step. The clerk called their names. Emily squeezed Daniel's hand once more before letting go. When they stood before the judge, they answered the questions calmly, respectfully, like two people who had learned how to be kind again, too late. When it was over, they stepped outside into the cold winter air. Daniel looked lost. "I'm sorry," he said. "For everything I couldn't be." Emily shook her head. "You were never nothing, Dan. You were my home for a long time." Tears streamed down his face then. Real ones. The kind Emily had waited years to see. She reached up and wiped one away. "Take care of yourself," she said. "You too," he replied. "You deserve happiness." "So do you," she thought. "Just not with me." Life after divorce wasn't easy. Emily moved to Minnesota for a new job helping foster families. She lived alone for the first time in her life. Some nights were peaceful. Others were unbearably quiet. She missed the familiarity, the history, even the arguments. Daniel stayed in Iowa. He cut back his hours. Started therapy on his own. Learned, slowly, how to feel instead of burying everything under work. They didn't speak much, but on birthdays, on holidays, they sent brief messages. Respectful. Warm. Gentle. No bitterness. Just gratitude. 3 years later, Emily stood in a grocery store holding back tears because a little boy in the cereal aisle reminded her of everything she once lost. And everything she had gained. She had fostered 2 siblings, a quiet 8-year-old girl and her talkative 6-year-old brother. They called her Miss Emily at first. Now, they called her Mom. Her heart, once broken, had grown larger than she ever imagined. That same year, Daniel met someone too. A woman who laughed easily, who understood his silences, who didn't need him to fix her, just to show up. One afternoon, Emily received a message from him. "I just wanted you to know. I'm happy. And I hope you are too." Emily smiled through tears. "I am," she replied. Some love stories don't end with forever. They end with growth. With forgiveness. With the courage to choose peace over fear. Sometimes, holding someone's hand while ending a marriage isn't weakness. It's the strongest act of love there is. Because it says, "What we had mattered. You mattered. And now, we both deserve a future." If this story moved you, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Share it with someone who might need hope today. Sometimes, the end of one chapter is the beginning of the life you were always meant to live.